Hey, what's up, people? Welcome to the Otherz podcast. I am your host, Stephen Penny. Joining me, as always, Mr. King of Creams himself, David Travis.
Yes, sir. What's going on, world?
How you doing, David?
How you doing, Penny?
We're good. Special guest this week. I was going to say the man, the myth, the legend. Not really a myth, but a man and a legend in himself.
Here he is.
People may have heard the last podcast and heard my sort of slightly older interview with him, but we thought we'd update that since we've got some new music. So, Mr. Brent Paschke is with us. How you doing, Brent?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're good. Thank you for joining us.
Can I hit the applause button with that? Can I just...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If I could be bothered to edit the sound effects in later, I would. But yeah, we can have real life sound effects.
Awesome. I'm loving it.
So yeah. Thanks for joining us, Brent. As we mentioned, we've got I think we've got lots to talk about. We were going to talk about Rockstar originally anyway this week, and as you are the man that plays on Rockstar, and your face does pop up in the video a few times at least, I think. Mm-hmm. I thought we'd have a little chat about that, and then we can chat about the new album and other stuff that we've got going on. I know David's been very excited for the last couple of weeks, and he's been doing his homework and preparing for the first time in his life. So
I got a lot of musical questions for you.
Cool.
It's more like music rather than the actual, I guess you could say, band, but it's more directed about your thoughts and feelings on the new album and how you felt working on the old album. So I play the piano, so it's always going to be music structured coming from me. So
Killer, man. Awesome.
yeah, I ask the stupid stuff. He asks the more interesting technical stuff because
that's it's like Penny's the yin and I'm the yang.
Yeah, that's gonna say the yin and yang. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But then I edit the podcast, so I make myself look clever in the edit, so that's fine.
Right. So
You got the last word.
So he's Fresh
Exactly.
Prince and I'm Jazzy Jeff, you know.
Yeah.
So
All right, so let's make a start and see where we end up with this. Let's start with Rockstar. So the second single off of In Search Of. Depending on where you lived, it was released either in the last week of July or first week of August in 2002. I don't know if this came out as a single in the US, in fact, because I don't remember seeing any chart positions for it. But in the UK, at least, it got to a pretty respectable 15 for a second single of a band that wasn't that well known at the time. That's not bad. And N.E.R.D's first single to chart in Australia at 32. And I think it came out in the Netherlands as well, but I have no idea off the top of my head what number that got to.
yeah, we saw the video before we heard the song. Because, like we were talking about in our past podcasts, New York and America wasn't ready for that mixture of rock and rap.
Yeah.
And I remember in an old interview, you were talking about that, bridging the two together. You have the rock, you have the rap, and, I don't know if we were ready for that yet.
It was it was really, really new at the time, really. I mean, there was Linkin Park, right, doing it. Linkin Park, I think. When did Jay do the part? Jay did a song with Linkin Park later, didn't he?
Yeah, that was I think it was Encore.
Yeah. But yeah, it was still fairly new. So yeah, I don't think this in the States. Europe always takes stuff on quicker.
All the time. I was telling Penny and a lot of the people that listen know I'm a huge fan of this band called Jamiroquai. I think they're very talented. But over here,
Yeah, ever since they came out with a bang, what was that first album?
Yeah, 96 Virtual Insanity.
Virtual Insanity, what a freaking great album. But
and the video was amazing.
Oh my gosh, dude. Insane. However they did that then, it was huge, yeah.
It's crazy
the gliding
because that took
shit.
Off. But and just to be informative real quick, just to let everybody know, if you know what video we're talking about, it's where JK is moving all over the place, and the floor seems like it's moving, but the floor isn't moving. It's the room that moves.
The set around him.
It's a set, yeah. Shit was sick.
I remember seeing an image of the warehouse it was in, and the warehouse was like it was like an aircraft hangar. Ridiculous.
Yep. So, but anyway, enough about them.
Yeah, it's a sick video.
We'll do the JK podcast one day.
Yeah. We should. Nobody will listen.
We'll enjoy it at least.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, let's get back to Rockstar then. And I'm not. It's not the. It's one of those really recognisable songs. It's up there with Lap Dance, I think, amongst the general public that everyone's kind of heard of at some point. It gets used in the adverts, the TV shows, the movies and stuff, and still crops up every now and again. So most people will probably know it if they heard it somewhere. In terms of the video, it was a strange one because it was a very different video to Lap Dance. I don't know if the budget was slightly dwindling from the album and the Lap Dance video maybe, but in terms of the video, yeah, I think we said last week the video is a bit of a not a shocker, but
yeah, it's like okay,
yeah,
whose school is this?
Yeah, there's so the first video, Lap Dance, was shot by Diane. How come I'm missing Diane's last name? Martell, yeah. And that was she's got like swag, you know. She's super swag. And that just worked great for Lap Dance. Rockstar was shot twice. That video was shot twice, and I don't know if you guys had heard that, but like there was a video that we did that was
it was shelved, correct?
It was shelved, yeah, and it was completely done. Was it Hype that did that one?
Hype Williams.
Yeah.
Hype Williams was doing all the videos back then. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. So Hype did it. It was like us on like kind of a Beatles, like a Ed Sullivan kind of Beatles look. So we all had the black suits and the skinny ties, and all kind of sat on stage, playing kind of like the Beatles did. And remember, I never heard this from P, but I heard that it came back and Pharrell was like, no, we can't do that. So that's where video number 2 came in, and we did that in a school that was done in California here somewhere.
And it's crazy. Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't think a lot of people know that there were 2 videos shot. One of them never made it. I was always under the impression that it was just like a small portion. I didn't know it was a whole entire video that was shot and done. Yeah, it was. If I remember, it's done. I think it might be done. Like, if I remember, like I might have seen parts or all of it, or it's years. This is like coming up over 15 years ago. So, but
I can imagine in 2002, Hype Williams kind of fee probably did eat up most of that budget for that initial video, I imagine.
I remember hearing it was expensive, yeah. But but kudos to, like, this is what I think is cool is you got to think back, like this is Pharrell and his first group, second single, right? Like, and he decides, like, what I think is so cool is he puts his foot down on the vision of the video and says, no, it's not good enough. I don't care if it costs a shit ton of money. I'm gonna change it. We're gonna do something different. I remember thinking, like, holy shit. Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands probably, but kudos, like, I learn a lot from that. Like, that he just kind of stands firm on his take on what his art should be, and it's kind of a note from the start of his career that he did that,
It's brave, but if you've got the vision and the direction and you're set to it and you really know what you want, then it's the way to go. And again, to scrap a video that's obviously cost a lot of money, has someone like Hype Williams involved, that takes some balls, I guess. Yeah. Let's go back in, and get someone else involved and reshoot everything and kind of put that out to the public.
Yeah. And he was big time too.
Hype was, man, my gosh, dude, right? Remember, that was like, everything was Hype, everything.
He was making a lot of videos, and I'm not just talking about, just, okay, 1 or 2. I remember seeing every video at that time was a Hype Williams with the screen would split, and you knew immediately it was on.
And
yeah.
You remember that?
The bright colors, and you think of like any late 90s video, like Timbaland, Missy, all of those into the early 2000s, they're all Hype Williams. And even like the stuff he's doing now recently, because I went through sort of some back catalogue stuff recently when I was looking at other videos, and And yeah, you can still recognize it, although his style has changed. You can still see it in there a lot now. You can still spot a Hype Williams video, and you're like, that's Hype Williams.
Yeah.
And they still look so good. The graphics he uses, the way he sets them up, they still look amazing.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree, 100%. So, I really feel like being a part of, at least hearing that from you, because I never knew that's actually amazing.
Yeah.
To know that it was a whole video shot and it was a whole video scrapped.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? I always remember too, because for years and years and years, I kept that little, the suit that they gave us, you know what I mean? Like all custom tailored, like little Black Beatles type of suit, you know?
Now, was the video shot in black and white too?
I think they might have done it. I think they might have turned it all black and white, I believe. Yeah, because it's Ed Sullivan kind of style, you know? So had the whole look, you know, the whole Beatles kind of look.
Huh.
Yeah, it was cool.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
See, we are, 5, 6 podcasts in, and we've already got the exclusives. We've got the scoops already.
And Penny, I'm not sure if you heard the phone ringing, but, you know, that was somebody calling in. They wanted to say hi to Brent. I had to tell them no, you know, so. Flipped it.
The fans are on the line already.
Yeah, I didn't even know we had Penny, when did you hook up the phone line? I didn't know we did that. Just for Brent, huh?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We don't have a bat phone. We have a Brent phone.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're gonna call it from now on. Watch. We're
the
gonna
red
do like
Brent
50
phone?
podcasts later. Who's calling on the Brent phone?
Brent phone's going. Someone get the Brent phone.
Wow. Awesome.
So you were saying that the kind of second video that you did, that was just shot in a random like high school gym in LA somewhere.
Yeah, it was some gym here in LA. I can't remember the school, but yeah, just random gym with what's that actor's name? Who's hilarious? Randy Quaid. He's the best, man. Love that guy.
He was in a bunch of movies.
And I think he lost his shit though a little bit, right? Didn't he start to go?
I did a little bit of research this week, and I was like, "What's Randy Quaid up to these days?" Because obviously the name rang a bell, and yeah, he keeps trying to like get into Canada, keeps getting arrested, and there are warrants out for him in California, and yeah, all sorts. He's kind of lost the plot a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He was saying there's a government conspiracy to kill him and his wife or something, and yeah, he's going all sorts of crazy.
Hey, man.
Unfortunately.
Do a bunch of good 80s movies, and that's what happens, huh?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. He was obviously living at large in the 70s and 80s, and it's taken its toll a little bit, maybe.
A little bit too much snow back in the days, right?
Perhaps.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. But then you've also got a random, when I watched it back yesterday, it reminded me, there's a random pop-up of, like, Be Real from Cypress Hill. Mm-hmm. Just sticks his head in there for, like, one shot.
Oh,
and then out again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how does that come about? Like, obviously he's from that area, so is he just local to that school and happens to pass by or know somebody involved, or... But he's just there for, like, one little shot and that's it. Yeah,
there was people around, I mean... Those times they were you know, considered, like, we got introduced to the Neptunes and Pharrell and Chad as the up and coming producers, you know, so but there were still, like, in the hype in the industry was still so big. So even at that video, like, Beyonce was hanging around at that time. I remember Twig was so funny. I can still visualize Twig, the bass player, teaching Beyonce how to, like, skate on the skateboard. I'm like, yeah, what are you trying to get with freaking Beyonce? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, dude,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but then like, you know, they're just
how his life could have changed if
no shit, right? Twig,
man, man. I feel like we're reaching back in history right now. Like, this is like, I can you guys can't see the smile on my face right now. I mean, you two can, but this is serious stuff, man. Because you know what it is? It's like, it's to be on one side and listen, Brent, as like a fan, it's one thing. But to actually talk to somebody that's been through it, you know, to me, it's one of those, like, wow, you know, I wish I would have known this stuff before in the past. I probably would have had a whole nother lookout, you know, on, because right now I'm looking at it like, wow, I can't believe that. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. So, it's really
I can't believe
awesome.
the Brent phone's ringing again.
Yeah, do you hear that?
There's the Brent phone again?
Yeah, you got it. It's going crazy here. Callers, you got to stop, callers. I mean, come on. Trying to ring up on something, callers. Oh, boy. Oh, you guys hate me. Look at Penny.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just yeah. So in terms of when you're actually shooting the video, you just turn up and stand there and they play the song and you play along, or was there anything for you guys to actually do, or?
No, I mean, those video days aren't the most fun. They're long. Those are like 24-hour days, and
get out of here.
All videos. It's like every one I've done. They're really kind of brutal.
Right.
Even like the Spy Mob video was the same way, and both those videos for N.E.R.D were the same way. You get in, and then for us, we're the band, so we, it's kind of like what you'd expect. You just go to fittings, you get your stuff, and the director tells you kind of what to do, and go ahead.
Go ahead. No, keep going. I'm sorry. I was
gonna say, like, it's more like Pharrell and Chad are more the guys behind or sitting behind Hype or whoever it is directing, and kind of
now, let me ask you, how much input on the set would you say that Pharrell and Chad had? Because I heard working with Hype Williams, he kind of is like in his ways. Like I'm doing my own thing, and you guys can say something, but this is way, this is really what I have in mind. How much input would you say that they had, or you guys had towards the video?
I don't know. I mean, no one. Pharrell has such. I have no idea how much input Pharrell had on any of that stuff, or Chad, but knowing Pharrell and Chad, they have a pretty strong vision, obviously, so I could see that. I get that for Hype that works for other artists, maybe, or certain artists, but I would never expect that would work in a situation like Pharrell and Chad, like, not because their egos or anything, but just because they have such a strong, distinct vision of, and to think about it, like N.E.R.D, especially at that time, was like fucking nothing else. There's like, then it's like there's N.E.R.D and just a handful of the other rock/rap groups, for lack of a better term, that are doing it. So they really had to have that strong vision, and you can tell it from the visuals and the, like, somebody was talking about the album cover recently of Shay sitting there playing video games with some girl. Like, who, like, normally, like, no fucking record company would think of that. Record companies play it so safe. That's all that, like, super forward creative shit.
That was so truth right there. That was the truth.
Yeah,
but what, though?
What's that?
It was very eye-catching.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. It's amazing. Yeah.
It was like, because you're seeing around that time, you had all the big name artists out, and then they had all these CDs. Just so you know, listeners, CDs was something that we used to use. If you don't remember them, they were a disc that we would, put into a radio for all the young listeners out there. But going to an actual store and seeing that on the shelf, that is almost where I was like, wait a minute, what album cover is this? It's this guy just sitting here playing a video game. And what is this?
Shay sitting there playing a video game, but it says so much. And that's why, like, going back to what you guys said about the video and Hype, is that I know that those really creative kind of moves like that's those guys really stating that, like, it needs to be like that. Like, that a record company would never freaking would choose to put that cover on. They would have been, they would have thought of something different.
Right.
Like,
especially at that time.
Skipping ahead slightly as well, if you look at the inlay cover of the new album, you've got shots from that same era. So I think there's one image in there where it's actually looking at the screen that Chad was obviously meant to be playing. So there's that kind of tie into that as well. So it's still that vision. We're 15 years down the line, but still let's tie it in, because we're drawing those influences from the music, from the imagery, from everywhere. So let's try and tie it all back in together, and it still works.
I know, but shit, I gotta be the lame one here and admit that I don't have the CD. I have it on my computer, but I don't have the physical copy, so I haven't seen it. Steven, can you send me one?
Strangely enough, I think I mentioned this. No, I didn't mention this on the podcast. I actually got a copy of the CD in the post a few weeks ago, and I've got no idea where it came from.
No shit, huh?
No, and I'm assuming somebody sent it to me, because I did not buy a copy. I paid for a copy on iTunes.
Right.
I was like, I'll chuck my money at it. That's fine. So I paid for a digital copy, and then I ordered the Lemon limited edition vinyl, which I got in the post.
That's pretty
And
dope.
then a CD just randomly turned up, and like, yeah. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but yeah, shout out if it was some listener that did just send that to me randomly, or somebody I know that sent it to me randomly, because that does seem to be happening occasionally now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually the day before or whatever, I was like, okay, I need to go over to the local supermarket. They've got a CD section there still, because this is Finland, so we're about 10 years behind the times. So I need to go and see if they've got a CD there so I can actually pick one up. And yeah, lo and behold, one just randomly turned up.
Yeah, I gotta grab one.
I think I've actually got it. I'm going to try and find it quickly. You two talking Vamp. I'm going to try and find a CD quickly.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah, David.
What were your thoughts hearing the N.E.R.D album before Spy Mob did it over? Like when they first did their first draft.
Dude,
What did you think?
Well, I was stoked, dude. So here's what happened is, I've told this story before, but in brief, like basically Spy Mob, my band, was signed, and back in that time, CDs just went around, and now it'd be digital, I guess, but CDs just went around the industry for bands that were or at labels who were interested in bands. So Pharrell and Chad ended up in meeting. They got our CD, and then they approached us, and it was actually our lawyer was like, "Yo, there's this new up and coming production team that really digs you guys." And then Eric went and met them, had a meeting, and they said, "Hey, we're doing this project called N.E.R.D. It'd be great if you guys played the instruments on this album." So Eric this is in Virginia. Eric flies to Virginia, meets Chad and Pharrell, hangs out, flies back, has a CD, and dude, I remember that wasn't really happening that much. You know what I mean? Like that kind of mixture wasn't happening that much, nor to get to the technical stuff, it wasn't nearly as easy as it is now, right? You have to combine live drums with program drums is a whole like kind of technique, and it takes some effort, so I was like, I heard this CD and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. This is like, yeah, oh my gosh, dude. Cause you can even ask my older brother. I would tell my older brother, I was like, I'm telling you, dude, if somebody could mix these two elements together and get it right, like it's gonna blow. Like it's gonna do something. Cause you just knew like rock, like, everything. We all need to infuse something new. That's why we see the radio curves, right? That's why we saw dance like hit the charts for 5 years. That's why we saw then, dubstep hit it hard, and then you know what I mean. Now we have more like, trap and whatnot, right? We see these curves, and I just knew that like you can kind of almost feel those curves coming, right? You can feel like when the world is just wanting a different a change in pace, or a style wants like a new injection of something, And
the crazy thing about it, Brent, is that, and the world has to really imagine this. Imagine you guys didn't see that vision, what kind of album we would have had. So it was not only, Pharrell and Chad, it was Spy Mob too, because if you guys had said, oh, you know what, we don't see this vision, who knows what they could have done? Who knows who they could have gotten, or who knows what if they even would have put the album out. So,
yeah.
It was one of those things where it was like you guys actually really made the decision to go forth with this.
Yeah, and it's also like, Pharrell and Chad, like, and Dave, you'll get this too. Is like they're not big quantizing people and stuff. They're very kind of, in a way, they're very traditional, but using new tools, so that it's not like they're really deep in the computer, like super editing, making sure everything's perfectly on the bar.
Oh, 100%.
They leave things real, and they're not perfect, and you listen to In Search of as far as,
let me tell you, how many songs I would listen to and I would be like, okay, quantizer was not used on this one. You know,
so many I have the Happy session. I did the book on it. You know that not one track in Happy was quantized. Not one. Not one, dude.
I really thank you for confirming that, because I would talk to my brother all the time, and I would be like, I don't think this is quantized. Why is this like? And you can hear it. You guys can't see my face, but I would be like, what just happened there? Run that back, and I was just like, okay, yeah, something is not right here. So,
yeah, because there's push and pull against it. I watch Pharrell make beats, and you know, I watch him start like with a percussion track, you know, doom, 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 boom, boom, doom, 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 and then he turns off the metronome and tracks everything to that. So he literally makes the percussion track, turns off the metronome, and tracks to it. Doesn't quantize anything.
So just so the listeners know, the quantizing is something that where it's almost with the whatever machine or computer, in my case, the keyboard, it just, because humans, we make errors, and sometimes we're not on beat. The quantizer allows us to kind of just stay on beat. So if we make an error, they'll kind of just fix it. Just real quick, a good example of that is In My Mind, Pharrell, there's a song called Dim the Lights. At the beginning, you hear the or metronome, but that's a quantizer, just keeping everything together. A lot of songs that I noticed with Pharrell and N.E.R.D, where some beats are just off like a split second, but to a musician, you're like, they're off. So I thought I was crazy. Brent, thank you so much for letting me know that I am not psycho.
Yeah, and that's a big key to their sound. You know, like that's a big key to anybody's sound. And that's where when we listen to the radio and we start to feel like things start to all sound the same, it's because if we're hearing that, you know, when you quantize and everything happens perfectly on time and every beat is exactly spaced out, right? You know, that if everything is perfectly on time and totally spaced, you know, spaced out the same, and then on top of it, we have a lot of the same sounds now. Now it's not like we're not crate digging anymore. Go to Splice and get a bunch of sounds, you know?
That's right. That's right.
So the difference with people who don't quantize, Timbaland sits in the same camp. When you hear Timbaland like a cappella or no vocal versions, like you hear it, it's loose. They play it in and they don't fix it exactly to the grid. That creates a style. So Pharrell has a very particular, and Chad has a very particular style of playing where they sit against that beat. So for musicians, that's a great thing to work on. And it's not like there's many lessons in it. You kind of learn it from absorbing from other musicians and learning feels. Like I would play along to funk records. I mean, for I don't even thousands and thousands of hours just to like try to get that feel in, you know?
So, yeah. And it's a very ballsy thing to do, because I've tried to play the piano, not, you know, quantizing it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, scrap, this is all off, I sound horrible. I DJ too, so a lot of the songs back in the 60s, you can hear when you're trying to mix the two together, it's like, it's always off, you know?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So I totally understand that. All right, awesome. I'm not crazy, Penny. Told you.
Maybe not about that, but yeah.
So, but another question I have for you, which just totally has nothing to do with N.E.R.D. It's more about yourself. And I ask this to every musician, and I never get an answer. So I'm just going to ask you right now, and I'm probably not going to get an answer. But what is your favorite guitar chord? What is your favorite chord?
You know, it's funny because I thought about this recently. I think it's D minor 7. And this is weird, but like this is weird. This is kind of personal, but like when I was really, really young and learning to play, when I first picked up the guitar, I just knew I knew I wanted that. That's what I wanted to do. Right. And I can remember, you know, you learn these as a guitar player, you learn these really basic open chords. Some people call them campfire chords, right? C and G and E and D.
Right, because they're very simple to play in.
Very simple, and you can play hundreds and thousands of songs with these open chords. But as you go along, you start learning chords with extensions. A chord is typically 1, 3, 5. So in C, it's C, E, and G. When you add an extension to it, like you make it like a major 7, or you can change notes and make it minor. D minor 7, for some reason, when I learned it, I remember playing it in my room and just like
oh my gosh,
getting emotional. Like it would like hit a chord in me that was
Penny.
weird.
Let me tell you something, all right? And I want you both to listen to this. I used to have another Instagram before I had the one I have now. And the Instagram was D-Face. Now, my first name is David, so everyone thought that D-Face was, just I'm D-Face. But it's not. That's my favorite piano chord, but it's D minor 9. So it's D, F, A, C, E. And that is my favorite piano chord. So that is crazy that you said that.
Yeah, and Pharrell,
unbelievable.
Pharrell's a huge minor 9 fan. Like
minor 9s.
Yeah.
Going from a minor to a minor. I'm a big fan of major to minors. Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started. That's another podcast in itself.
That's very classic, like Beatles and very classic songwriting too. Major to minor kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah, D minor 9 is my favorite. That's crazy that you said that.
Yeah.
We're getting some more calls on the Brent phone. Yeah, he's amazing, guys. Just let you know. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Penny, go ahead. That blew me away, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I've never seen you smile quite so much.
Because, man, that chord, it's crazy. I can pull it up on my phone because when I DJ and I end events, I usually end, we have our own little sound bites and whatever. So I usually end every event with just that one sound, and it's actually a D minor 9 sound. I keep it on my phone all the time, but I get it. When you say you first played that chord and you were in your room, the chord is it's something about the chord that's so emotional. I totally understand it. I'm not sure if you guys can see the name of that chord I have up there. It says D minor. And let me see if this will play. I decided, hold on 1 second. I'm getting into the stuff I used to make. But what about that chord made you single out the rest of the minor? Like, why not E minor or F sharp minor?
I don't know what it is, man. It was that chord. I think it's crazy you brought this up because I tried to think recently, like, was it that chord that I equated to some song? You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't. I was like, is it because it's like One of These Nights by the Eagles? But that was E minor. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's a lot and there's a lot of proof I know about how chords and those and wave, because a chord is a wavelength, and you know what I mean. There's just who knows what it is. Music is a language, and for some reason that cluster of chords just speaks in a certain way, and music is really our best language, honestly. And
it's also, I tell everybody, it's a universal language. We all understand it, whether it's Portuguese, Lebanese, doesn't matter. But just so you guys know, I found the chord sound, so this is it. I'm just going to play it real quick. I'm not sure if you guys can kind of hear that. Did you guys pick that up at all? Yeah, but that's the D minor 9 chord. But that's pretty amazing, man. That you were into that. So all right, I'm done with the chords. I could do that all day, man.
I could too, man. I love that stuff. I love that.
Maybe we should kick Penny out and we'll just start like a chord podcast.
Penny?
You can go for your lives.
But Penny's got to edit it then. Then there's going to be no podcast. It's going to be, hey, Brent, how's it going? All right, later.
And I tell everybody that hits me up about the podcast, they're like, oh, you guys did? I'm like, this, guys. I'm just letting you know right now, I have nothing to do with any editing. That's all Penny. He's the leader. I follow him. I'm just along for the ride. He is Fresh Prince. I'm Jazz.
I appreciate that, and I'll happily edit any podcast that you want to do.
Penny, you are Michael, and I am Tito.
Oh, that's a big call.
Okay, so
let's stop stroking my ego here and let's move on. Let's do one more very quick Rockstar observation, and let's move on to some newer stuff. And I'm sure you have a host of other comments and questions. This was the first time we saw the N.E.R.D trucker hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in the first video we had the Rolling Stones trucker hat, didn't we? So this was the first N.E.R.D merch.
Yeah.
That now go for absolutely ridiculous, horrendous prices
The
on
merch does?
eBay and the likes of.
Oh shit! I could
Those
make
trucker
some
hats,
money.
man,
Then.
they go for like $300-400 and stupid money nowadays.
Are you serious?
Unbelievable.
Dude, I got a funny trucker hat story. So the first oh shoot, can't see it. The first I can pull mine down. So hold on. This is what some of the plaques look like, right?
Yes.
Oh, Brent, you should never have given me your home address.
You know who has one of those in their office? Loic from.
Yeah, but does Loic have this one like this?
I don't know.
I'm not sure. I think he probably
know.
has the. So there was a run. These are the second one. Right? There was a run of the first ones, and they're fucking bomb. They have a big bubble on the front of them, and
yeah, they've got that in the Loic's got his in the BBC office.
yeah,
Yes,
and it's
that's
got a hat in it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so supposedly Chad was at the studio one day and needed a hat and opened up the album and took the hat out.
This
and
is an
wore it for
Otherz
the day.
podcast exclusive here.
That's very Chad too. That's very Chad. He's hilarious, man. But yeah.
Wow.
So they became so popular that hat came such a symbol of it, you know, that they put it right inside the album or inside the gold record, man. Hilarious.
That's something else, man. That's pretty cool.
Isn't that funny?
I'm still gutted that I lost mine all those years ago.
I have as the kids would say, I have a replica or fake that someone gave me maybe when I was about 24. I got it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And of course, you know, my first Instagram post, it was like spam, fake, L, fake, L. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to take this down.
Man, we should really hit up Loic and have him redo those, man.
Those are awesome.
I think they redid some original, because I sent a bunch of pictures of my shirt, when we toured, what I'd do is I would take, every time we'd do another run, they'd have different shirts. And that was Philip Leeds, who typically did a lot of those shirts. And he would kill some of the designs. I don't know if you guys saw the Provider shirt. Like, it's freaking
Yeah,
bomb.
he still posts like little pictures every now and again on Instagram. And
yeah, Philip.
He's still got all those classics like locked away.
Yeah, Philip killed those designs. But yeah, I would keep all of those. And I sent some pictures to some people. So I don't know if I thought they did some remakes of them, but I don't know. Not sure. The camp is big.
I wish I bought more merch back in the day. I've got a basketball top from around 01, 02 with the N.E.R.D on the front.
Yeah.
Never worn it in the cupboard. And then I had the hat. I bought the hat at one of the gigs, and then it got lost in a house move somewhere. But I wish I'd bought more, because now the original stuff, it does just go for ridiculous money.
Wow.
You know, like Pharrell is hot again, N.E.R.D is hot again.
They're coming back. You know,
yeah,
they never left, but they're coming back in the sense of, the mainstream is starting to recognize them again. But to me, they've always been around. And
with all the kind of newer streetwear, BBC kind of getting a bit bigger again, and all of the Adidas stuff that Pharrell is doing, it's having that knock-on effect to, like David sees, the ice creams and the original merch and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, David, you have like one of the biggest ice cream collections, right?
Yeah. Now let me just phrase this differently because people get so
wait for it.
I have the largest ice cream sneaker collection.
Okay.
Because if you say like largest ice cream collection, you're leaving it open to shirts and hats and all of this, which I don't really have a lot of. But I have the world's largest, and I'm going on record right now. I really don't care. I have the world's largest ice cream sneaker collection in the entire world.
Nice.
Not one of the.
Yeah.
The.
It's the. It's the
awesome.
Brent phone. Someone needs a pair of shoes. Someone needs some ice creams.
Yeah,
Answer
Brent.
it quick.
The Brent phone is calling. Give me. Let me get that, guys.
Do we get the mute?
No, he's back. He's back. It's
oh,
all
we're
right.
back. Okay.
He's got his assistant there to help him out. Bless him.
That was a. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, that was a caller who wanted to speak to you, Brent. I told him no.
Man, you're making me sound mean.
You know what? I don't know if this is going to be scripted, Penny, in this, but does anybody know? Do they know why the phone's always ringing in the background, Penny? Did I ever tell them why? Where I am right now? Oh boy, dedication to this podcast, guys. Major dedication. That's all I got to say.
All right. So should we move on from Rockstar and move on? Well, we may as well talk about the new album, I guess, seeing as it's the latest and greatest. I have my CD copy here in front of me. I know we've talked briefly about it on a couple of the other podcasts, just our very early initial thoughts and feelings. I know we've both listened to it many more times since then. I think I gave it a solid 7 or 8 out of 10. I said. I think you were on the same page. I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still playing that daily. I think standout tracks for me. I don't know if we talked about that previously, but ESP, Lightning, Fire, Magic, Prayer, Secret Life of Tigers. Brent, you were on pretty every track, weren't you?
No, not on every one. I think I'm on like 5 because there's only guitar on like 5 or 6.
Okay.
It is. I can't remember which ones exactly.
Most of them, though, let's say.
Yeah. Let's see. Or like half the album, I guess it is.
What is your opinion on? I just have to ask this because this is one of the questions. What is your opinion of the sound then and the sound now?
I mean, you know, I'm obviously a big fan of the rock stuff, right? Like it's like just for me, like getting that aggression out, you know, like getting able to like just hit it. But I love what Pharrell did and Chad did on this record. I really do. I think it was a good. I mean, for me, I'm always asking other people because I feel like, yeah, do I feel like, I don't know. Do I feel like it could be more band heavy? In one way, yes. Do I feel like that would be the appropriate thing to do? Maybe not. I'm really 50-50 on it. Like, but I love the songs. I'm a huge Pharrell and Chad fan too, even though I work with them, but they're still my favorite production team. And so I don't know, man. I'm all over on it because I just love the tunes no matter what, you know?
I think this is what we hear as feedback quite a lot, and I think we've talked about in the past as well. Everyone has In Search Of ingrained into their head because it is that classic album, that kind of cult classic generally, but a classic to us as fans. And you know, the feedback I hear about the album is that people either love it or they say, "Well, it's not In Search Of, is it?" Meh.
And then they leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
And do that.
And that's that problem. It's like, could there be more live stuff, more band stuff in there? Yes, there could, but it's not In Search Of number 2, is it? It's with 15 years down the line, and would that fit into what's happening now? Would that fit into some of those songs? Like, meh.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's a different time, and you know, they get that a lot. Pharrell and Chad do is like I've heard like people in the camp say, you know, it's like, you know, oh, we need another In Search Of, or you just In Search Of was the one, you know. But like, how do you just go and repeat that time? Could the Beatles like just remake Sgt. Pepper's? Like, you know what I mean? The Beatles
Thank you.
You know what I mean? The Beatles even said after Sgt. Pepper's, they said, they were like, I think it was Paul said like, holy shit, what do we do now? Like, we just freaking made Sgt. Pepper's. Like, what's the next move? Like, it's freaking Sgt. Pepper's. I'm sure AC/DC said the same thing about Back in Black. I'm sure, you know what I mean? Like,
people loved, you know, to hear that same, you know, as I'm not an artist in any way, but I would want to reinvent myself too. It's only but so much, you could do the Bobby James or the Run to the Sun. That was cool for that time, but we got to grow.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that, to be honest with you.
And Pharrell is the ultimate, like, never looking back guy. It's so hard for him to look back, like, and to do, even for him to take, he'll have some tracks that he's made years ago, or that get used currently, but it's tough for him, man. He's got loads of stuff, but it's just, for him, he just has, as a creative, he's not really a guy who goes backwards, and
we see
back.
that in his personal style too, with the shoes that he's doing and the things that he's getting himself involved in. That's not, and I totally understand it. It's not, who wants to keep doing and repeating the same thing. After a while you have to reinvent yourself. I'm really happy you said that, to be honest with you, because a lot of people are taking the new album and not liking it or giving it a lower rating because they're comparing it to the earlier stuff. Yeah, you really got to leave that out,
Got to leave that out, man. They do that. In Search of was over 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, so, and this is a great album, and I love some of the messages. Don't Do It is just freaking crazy. Like, that might be my favorite on there. Like, I love the whole story behind it, why Pharrell wrote it, and just the vibe of it. Like,
I was telling Penny that you can definitely tell the issues that we have going on in this country, because a lot of it is said on the album. You can definitely, people that don't live here in the U.S. can tell that, okay, there's issues that are going on, and I think that you guys really covered that very well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man.
And in terms of sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say, Don't Do It is probably one of my favorites too.
Yeah, killer song.
And in terms of actually working on those tracks, when you come in to lay stuff down, are you reworking stuff that's already there, or are you adding to, like, some basic stuff they've already got? How does it work?
Yeah, so it typically works like, it'll be like Pharrell or Chad. They'll start, a track starts. Pharrell, it works all in Logic, so he gets all the basics inside of Logic, and he gets a beat. And Pharrell's very he'll hear the song a lot of times in his head, like almost done, or the beat almost done, and he's gotten so good at this that, like,
Genius.
He can just kind of like, he can kind of like, he hears it, and you can see him almost walk in the room and kind of hum, or you can see his mind working. He wanders. When his mind is working, he just kind of, he wanders, and you can see the wheels rolling. So track gets done, and it's funny because a lot of times I might get a call the night before, even, like, Pharrell needs you on a track, or when he's on his way in, he needs you on a track. That's how much he knows what he's thinking on this song he needs to make.
I heard he doesn't sleep a lot.
No, he's going constantly. Like, his creative flow is, he's really got himself into a position where he's got a really good creative flow in his life, and things stay out of the way really well to keep that going, because it can get really, you can imagine how many people want 5 minutes of his time, so he gets in, he starts to make something. I'll come in, I'll know that I'm supposed to come in, or sometimes I'll just get, it'll be Mike or Drew, the engineer, hit me up, Pharrell needs you, and I'm literally, okay, I'll be there in an hour or two, and I go in the track, typically when I get in the track, there'll be like something, a good part of the track is already finished and complete. And how it works really, like, it's with Pharrell and Chad records, like, they have very, like, pretty distinct parts that they already have in their mind, so Pharrell will just hum parts to me. He'll just play dum bum 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 ba da ba da da dun 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 dun, and he'll say, just put,
and you just play it.
Yeah, and he'll say put chords underneath it, because he can only sing one note at a time. So he'll say play this thing but put chords underneath, or he'll say play this, this popcorn line or whatever, and then he just goes through and tells me what kind of sound, and he doesn't get technical on sounds. He'll say things like, mix, I want, Kurt Cobain meets Chuck Berry, and I got to kind of like put that together of what does that mean to Pharrell, what kind of sound does that mean for him, and what is he looking for, or
musicians mind, man. That's something.
Yeah, and he's not technical with it. It reminds me of what I'd read about like John Lennon, how John Lennon would say, I want the sound to be more orange, And you you can't think it's crazy. You just have to go like, listen, that's how the creator, the producer, the person who's writing the music hears it. I have to get inside of that zone and figure it out, and figure out how to make that work.
Brent, man, I just got to tell you, because I might have to run. As from a piano player that really understands, what another musician is thinking, I got to say that, talking to you helped me more understand N.E.R.D, but almost made me, understand what you think as well. So I just really want to say thank you for helping me understand that, helping us out with the podcast, and always know this, man. You're just as a musical genius as P, man.
Thank
the fact that you put that together like that, and you were able to do that. A lot of us, I'm going to speak for all of the others, that's what we call ourselves, and say, thank you for that. Because if it really wasn't up to you guys could have turned that down, and then who knows where it would have gone. Pharrell and Chad are cool, but it's you guys that really put that together, man.
Well, for us, that was a huge, like, for me, that was a turning point in my life. That definitely was, and it was something I really wanted. Like I said, when I heard the album, I really wanted to do it. Eric, I remember I was in the car listening to the album when Eric, Spy Mob drummer, called me and said, how would you feel going to play on that album? I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, absolutely.
Yeah, you see, it's one of those split decisions where if it was like, yes, we get this, and no, who knows what we could have gotten. So I just want to say thank you for that, man. I really appreciate it. And I feel bad I gotta run.
Yeah, no problem, man.
But the Brent phone call, so.
Great meeting you,
David. Nice talking to you, man. I really appreciate
you too,
it.
Man.
Hopefully, Penny, you can set this up again, because I still got 1,000 million questions, but.
Yeah, Brent, have you got 5 more minutes to carry on?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
And then David can listen back and. Yeah.
All right, David. Great meeting you, man.
Thank you, Penny. We'll talk soon, man.
We'll link when we're when I get to New York.
You got a place to stay. We'll kick Penny out. So.
Might steal a couple of those sneakers too, man.
Easy.
You might not have the world's largest collection after I'm there.
Penny's ahead of you.
I'm staying at his house in a few weeks' time, and that's a real possibility.
I thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, David. Take care, man. All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, so we can carry on for a few more minutes then, if that's all right with you.
No problem.
So yeah, if we can chat a bit more about the album. So, you said like "Don't Do It" was kind of probably your favorite song on there because of the message and everything.
Yeah.
But like musically, I guess as a fan, but also having to actually play it, do you have like a different favorite? Is there something else that you really like about a certain song or songs on there?
Deep Down Body Thirst is cool. They all got their own. That's the thing about an N.E.R.D record. Every song kind of has its own thing. It's hard. Don't Do It is just the one that's resonating with me right now. But it'll. I think it'll change at some point. It'll change when we start rehearsing them, or I don't know, man. They're all so much fun. That's what's fun about an N.E.R.D record is there's no rules, So I don't know, man. I can't really pick a different favorite, man.
It's like picking a favorite child.
It is, man. It's really tough. It's like, who was the best behaved this week? I don't know.
There probably is a favorite, but you wouldn't publicly say it to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you envisage playing these out on the road at some point in the near future, perhaps?
I hope so. There hasn't been really anything, it's scheduled or anything. So, but yeah, I dude, and I could probably speak for everybody in the band too. It's like doing an N.E.R.D set is like nothing else, man. Like it's for live musicians, it's the shit, dude. It's so amazing. It just to rock like that, and then having that combination of like 808s behind you and shit. It's not like nothing else. It's fucking incredible.
And yeah, as a fan, they're some of the best shows I've been to. You know, seeing you play live, you know, numerous times over the years as well, and being, you know, in the early days, being in those kind of smaller venues like Brixton Academy and Hammersmith Apollo.
Oh shit, you were at those?
Yeah, all of them, every one of them, yes.
Holy
so I don't know if we talked about this before, but yeah, like up until I moved out here to Finland, I think I'd seen every single UK gig Pharrell had done, either as N.E.R.D or when In My Mind was out and he was doing it kind of, you know, solo, let's say. Yeah. So yeah, I saw you yourself in London 2 or 3 times maybe, I think, in the earlier days. And yeah, in my mum's loft in the UK, again, I might have mentioned this previously, but there are boxes of like photos. When I'd go to a gig, I'd take a camera with a film in it. Yeah. Again, the kids listening won't understand what that is, but we put films inside cameras and took pictures and got them developed. And a couple of summers back, I was going through them all, and there's all these pictures from all these gigs, and there's lots of yourself and all of the other Spy Mob guys as well, because I'd always get there early, always be down near the front, so I could kind of see everything that was going on, and would always be like snapping pictures and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, there's in the least creepiest way possible, there are lots of photos of you in my mother's house.
Oh man, that's crazy. Oh gosh, can I stay?
Well, I'm back in the summer. I'm hoping to dig them all out and get all my stuff kind of shipped over here finally. Yeah. So yeah, I'll try and see if there's any I can dig out, any that are any good.
Yeah. No, those were incredible. Those were great shows too, because they were pretty raw. You know what I mean? We're talking like it's backdrops. You know, like our stage was like, you know, those big like curtain backdrops and shit. You know, it was super raw. We were all really, really fresh to it. You know, we're having a freaking great time on the road. Lee Harvey was on the road with us, and he did one song in the night, and we were touring with the Clips were around, and everything was really fresh. Industry was really fresh at that time. Like sales were really high, so there was so much buzz, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about Rockstar earlier, and it was one of those tracks where that would come on towards the end of a show, and this is like essentially a hip hop show. And people were like, there were mosh pits. Yeah. There were legs and arms flying everywhere, people getting knocked over, people crowd surfing, and it would go crazy. And yeah, going from those gigs kind of 15 years ago, which were just small and in your face and, like you say, raw, to even kind of seeing you guys in sort of bigger venues at festivals and stuff like that. Those songs still come across so well at festivals. They're such, a lot of them, like Rockstar and Lap Dance and stuff, they're such good anthems that everyone knows them, and it can get a small crowd really energized, but even like a huge crowd, like you've played at Glastonbury and stuff. Yeah. And those videos are still online, and people can go and watch them. And when like Rockstar and stuff comes on, people, you got 50,000 people there just going berserk, basically. Yeah, dude, it's freaking insane. Yeah, Lap Dance, Rockstar on those. Even like, dude, like I love playing Bobby James live. I love playing that song, especially because like we always get the hardcore fans up in front. So Pharrell wouldn't even have to sing a word to that song, and that's a deep track on In Search Of, like, but people still like that's like that shit's. Dude, no, that feeling is incredible. Yeah, but as a fan, hearing those being sung as well and knowing the meanings and the messages behind them and stuff, and I think a lot of that will come out with this new album as well, if and when it gets toured, and depending on the size of the venues and stuff, I think it will be a similar vibe, because there's that meaning behind them, and there's that kind of, I guess, angst and frustration and, getting that out there. But they're also songs that people can just, sing along to and sing back at,
Yeah.
So I really think
Yeah, N.E.R.D gives you that the music N.E.R.D makes, I think, gives you that place to let go. That's what's great about N.E.R.D is it really gives you that place, and being it's so heartfelt, you can get inside of that stuff. Really, it's true. Like Pharrell doesn't write these songs like these are coming from a real place. It's not they're not written for, let's write this so we can have a double diamond album, and it's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's a statement. It's a message. It's because Pharrell writes them, I believe, because he feels he has to. He could do whatever the hell he wants right now. It didn't have to make a new record. Doesn't have to. He could have made a solo record. He could have, he did Hidden Figures before this. He could have done another movie. Whatever. This is done because he felt like it needed to be done. I feel.
Yeah.
So that's where people, I think, and the fans absorb that, and we absorb that from the fans. So it's like that. Back to the yin and yang, right? There's that definitely yin and yang that I think is there with N.E.R.D.
Yeah, and I think on the new album there are so many kind of varied messages on there that they may not all apply to me or to you, but they apply and resonate with at least some number of people in society out there. There's stuff about people being shot. There's stuff about family values. There's stuff about immigration and being a refugee and all these kinds of things that we see in the news, and we tend to see in a very sort of negative light in the media as well. But this kind of gives a slightly different perspective to it and a different voice to some of it, I think, and a voice to those people that are actually affected by these things day in, day out. Because I know I'm not a young black male in America. I'm not, well, technically I'm an immigrant, but I'm not a refugee or anything like that. I'm not under any kind of hardship or anything. Mm-hmm. But it gives me a different perspective to some of these issues, as opposed to just seeing Facebook posts and things on the news and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, shoot, he starts off the truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off. It's, dude, I totally relate to that. And that's like, it's funny, like some of this stuff, and it's times too, right? But some of the stuff just sits in, the album sits really well in this time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that statement, I think, sits really fucking well in this time, There's a lot of that, especially over here, with our new administration, and, it's timely. It's perfect,
It's timely, but it sits well it would sit well in other times as well. Because there was a particular example I was thinking about. Deep Down Body Thirst, which I think you did play the guitar on.
Yep.
And I think we talked about this a few weeks back when we had a quick chat. It's very like Fly or Die sounding.
Yeah.
It's about kind of corporate and political corruption, and there was elements of that in Fly or Die as well.
Yep.
So I think that stuff sits well now, and this stuff now would have even sat well then, which is why it kind of resonates with us, which is why if we like those original albums, as long as you're not comparing them, you're going to like this stuff as well if you actually listen to the music and to the message.
I agree. Yeah, and this is... There's a lot of those, right? Don't Do It, Deep Down Body Thirst. Yeah, it's a lot where Pharrell was trying to getting these messages out that I think he just needed to say,
In terms of like, one thing I noticed in the credits of the CD here in the inlay, and I don't know if you can have an opinion or give an opinion on this, but one thing I found, I just noticed and found a bit strange, was this is an N.E.R.D album. In the past, it's always been N.E.R.D produced by the Neptunes generally, but every track on here is just solely listed as written by Pharrell, produced by Pharrell. Do you see, as someone working with them, the dynamic has changed slightly over the years, or is there a reasoning behind that?
Well,
do you think?
I don't know. I don't really know the reasoning like behind that. I wouldn't even want to really speak on it, because it's between Chad and Pharrell, and however I don't even, I'm not a part of credits and how the credits are done, and nor am I a part of writing the songs or producing the songs. I play guitar strictly, so I can't take any of that credit. But I think as we all grow, we all grow in different ways and we do different things. And this is since In Search Of, it's like, again, over 15 years ago, and people take different roads and different tracks. And I don't know. I mean, as far as that is, maybe Pharrell just Pharrell and Chad are both so freaking extremely talented, and it could have just been that, like, these tracks just kind of came so fast for Pharrell. I've heard records that aren't released that Pharrell has done 10 songs in 7 days, and you sit and listen to them and you're like, oh my God, this is unbelievable,
Yeah.
So I don't know where that happens, and that could just be a very innocent thing where it's just like those tracks came out and it was appropriate. Don't fuck with what's already great and just roll with it. That's what it could be. I don't know.
And and I imagine it probably is that, but it's just something that kind of caught my eye as I read through the book.
Yeah, I think I read somebody else noted that. I haven't looked at the credits yet, but somebody else noted that in a review I saw too. But yeah. Who knows?
Your name's definitely in there. I've checked, so don't worry about that.
Is it spelled correct?
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. So you're all right. You're in there somewhere.
I've had that before where it was spelled wrong. Not in N.E.R.D, but.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm like.
Right. Well, I guess we should probably wrap it up. I think we've chatted for quite a while here, haven't we? Over an hour. We try and keep it to about an hour.
Okay. Cool, man.
So just to reiterate what David said, we really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this stuff and giving us the insights and the stories and stuff. And I'm sure everyone that listens will really appreciate it as well. Yeah, appreciate it, man. I appreciate the fans, man. Dude, N.E.R.D has like some of the greatest fans, and that just they really do so much to drive the band. Yeah. It's as soon as I sort of posted something a little while back that we were chatting to you and we were going to try and make something work out, the amount of messages we had in DMs like, oh shit, you're going to get Brent on there, that'd be great. And just the fans love it, and I think they love all these little stories and things that they wouldn't normally hear about, from sort of behind the scenes and stuff. Yeah. Because there is such an eclectic kind of body of work there that people like to hear kind of how that stuff's made and how it all kind of comes together. And it's very organic, man. If I could say anything about it, like I forgot to tell David, but like any of these things, like when Pharrell, when I come in and record that stuff, it's very organic. It's very root based. It's nothing really like crazy about it. The thing that really happens that makes it is that there's a very strong like gut sense that stays true there, so it's not like we're, especially with Pharrell and Chad, your rules kind of dissolve, I do other sessions where rules are definitely there, it's gotta sound like Dr. Luke or it's not gonna be okay for the record company. And it's like, oh, fuck this, like it's, with those guys, it's like, what's different, and I've done parts and, hey, Pharrell, I can get that better. And he looks at me and he goes, why? I think it sounds good. What am I fucking supposed to say? I'm fucking, if it sounds good to Pharrell, then it's fucking good. Like, but that's just holding true to that belief and that gut instinct of what this needs to truly be and what that vision needs to truly be, and not being deterred by like, oh, we got to sell X amount of copies and this and that. It's not about that. There's a very organic, super organic kind of thing that happens with those productions. And that's what's fucking great about being involved in, or being a player on them. It's really fun. And I think that's what the fans appreciate. It's what I at least appreciate. I know when an N.E.R.D record comes out, it won't sound exactly like everything else that's out at the moment. There will be stuff that's different in there, stuff that's maybe a bit weird and a bit strange and doesn't sound quite right maybe. But I think I said this to you as well a little while back, as you go through those tracks, they've got those kind of breaks, and a lot of them are almost kind of split into two parts.
Yeah.
And on a lot of albums, that wouldn't work. It would sound a bit muddled, and you'd be like, "Oh shit, am I on a new track here? Like, what's going on?" But on this album, the way it's kind of pieced together, it is weird and it is different, but it does work.
It's really cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, dude, listen to the second side of Abbey Road. Like, the Beatles, it's second, well, I say the second side. That's how it was always referred to. But it's all one song, It's like 20 minutes or so, or 25 minutes, This was the Beatles, man. Like, all strung together, So it's like they had that same approach. There wasn't any rules, And that's what makes this good. That's what makes it special. And that's what artists and creatives, I think that's like some of the best advice, and some of the advice I try to take the most from Pharrell is to just hold true to that vision that you feel. It's not easy, man. It's not easy because you have to make, if you have a family, you got to make a living, you're pressured by other things. If you got to get a record deal, you have to deal with fuckhead A&Rs that don't hear fucking anything except if it sounds like something on the radio already, Like, but if you stay true to it, man, it always goes right.
Well, that's like you said earlier. It ties back to the whole kind of rock star video story, and that wasn't the right direction, or it wasn't done in the right way, or whatever it may have been. And he put his foot down, and even against someone like Hype Williams, and said, "No, we're not going to use it. Here's the money. Put that in the can. Let's do something else, and we'll go our own kind of way." And
P was in his 20s at that time, and. It's not like, dude, that's not, trust me, he was Pharrell, but you got to go back to that time, like, it's not, he didn't have the clout he does now, of course, it's over 15 years later, but like, he put his freaking foot down on hundreds of thousands of dollars that got thrown in the trash, like, that says a lot, man. You got to hold true to it.
Conviction, isn't it?
Conviction. You got to hold true to your art, man. You got to hold true to it. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we start going off on more random tangents, we will wrap it up.
Yeah, man.
You can at least then go and get on with your day, and I can start trying to edit all of this together, I guess.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, like I say, thanks again. Everyone really, really appreciates it. Do you want to give the book or anything a quick plug?
Yeah, Tooniversity. So I started Tooniversity. I went to Pharrell with the idea that I wanted to break down the creative process, really creative and recording process, and teach that, kind of try to teach that, right? It's kind of tricky to teach a creative process, but you can inspire. And I think a great way to teach a creative process is by deconstructing it. So we made a book where we deconstructed happy, and then we teach people how to reconstruct it. It's all done on an iOS device. iPad is ideal, but it can work on anything, iPhone, whatever. And basically, by the time you're done, you will have listened to all the parts from Happy. You'll have heard video of Pharrell talking about his creation process. We talk about it. We give exercises on how to practice patterns. And then we give you a couple starter project files or project sessions that go into GarageBand. And then you can start to remake your own version of it. So it's pretty cool. Like, I learned guitar by learning songs. And that's how most of us learn, drummers, keyboardists. We learn songs. And for me, it's like Metallica songs and whatever back in the day. And this is kind of that approach, just using recording. So it's Tooniversity, and you can get it on the iBooks, on the Apple Store, on Apple site. So it's a book. It's only $5. And
it's a bargain.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great book. We're super proud of it, and people are having a great time with it.
Yeah, and I think when you mentioned it to me, I sort of went and purchased it, and as a fan myself, it was great to kind of see that from a high level, how that song's kind of put together and all the elements to it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, my son is 7. He was 6 when that kind of came out. And even for a kid who loves music, he loves obviously your music and N.E.R.D stuff, but it was great to watch him on the iPad read through all the different parts and understand how how a song that he sings to himself kind of comes together into one piece. And he could sit there and he could loop all the sounds and parts of the songs and hear how they were put together, and then read a little bit about it, and then put bits together himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really kind of magical to watch him sort of start to learn and understand that process, and hopefully inspire him as well.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? And we give this project file. It works in this thing called live loops in GarageBand. And live loops is it's kind of like Ableton Live. They're little squares, and you just press the buttons, and the loops happen. So we have it set up where you just press it, and the kick drum starts, and the snare drum starts, and the congas start, and Pharrell's vocal starts, and you can swipe around them, and you don't even have to be a musician. You can start making your own remix of Happy. Those are files that we just send out to everybody who gets the book.
Yeah, so anyone that's a fan, I recommend you go and get the book. And if you're interested in just music in general and how things are produced and put together, definitely go and pay those $5 or whatever it is, and download it and have a play around with it. And even if you don't make your own remix, it's still interesting to kind of, again, see that behind the scenes kind of thing and learn how it's actually come together and how it works.
Yeah. It's really cool. We're looking forward to doing more of them. And I'm looking forward to it too, because I like to sit with other producers and just kind of like, how did you do this? Like, what made you think of doing that? Why did you think to write the lyrics like this? Why did you think to do, for Happy? Why did Pharrell do a bridge twice? Why did he start writing the song? Like all of that's in the book, and it's pretty interesting, and it's good exercises, especially for creatives, like, oh, well, that's how we did that. Maybe I should try that the next time I'm creating something. And that was kind of the goal with it.
Yeah, well, I'll put a link in the show notes to this, so if any listeners are interested, as you say, you can go to iBooks on any iOS device, or even on a Mac as well. If you've got a Mac at home, you can go into iTunes and find the book section there. But I'll put a direct link into the show notes as well, so people can go straight to it and hopefully buy a copy. Yeah,
cool, man.
And if people want to follow you and see you online and see what you're up to, can people follow you? And if so, where are you?
Oh man, I'm so bad at social, but I'm just I should probably what is it? Just my Twitter is just, isn't it just Brent Paschke? I don't know. I'm bad at it.
I'll do the links as well. Don't worry.
Please help me, Penny. I need to hire a firm for this stuff, man. I'm terrible at this. Yeah,
I'll put some links. Yeah, you don't post much, but you do post occasionally.
Yeah.
And but we'll get the links in there. People can come and follow you if they want, and we hopefully may see some more posts from you in the future.
Yeah, man. Awesome, man.
But yeah, other than that, people listening, you can follow our Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all that sort of stuff at Otherz Podcast. That's Otherz with a Z. You can follow David at King of Creams on Instagram, and that's Creams with a Z as well, because that's how the cool kids do it now. And you can follow me at Steve R. Penny on Twitter, Instagram, and over at Facebook as well. But again, Brent, thanks very much for joining us this week, mate. We really, really appreciate it.
Cool. Appreciate it, Penny.
Yeah, David would be fanboying out here as well if he was still here.
Yeah, it's great chatting with him, man. Great meeting him.
But yeah, we're big fans, so we really appreciate it, and I'm sure all the listeners do as well. So yeah, thank you very, very much.
Awesome, man. Thanks, man.